So hi everyone. I'd like to begin today's webinar first by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands on which I'm meeting you today. So I'm joining from Ngunnawal country. I'd like to pay my respects to elders past and present. My name's Ashley and I'll be facilitating today's panel session. But before we kick things off, I'd just like to point out that this webinar will be recorded. Your microphones and videos have been automatically muted and turned off, but that's really just to avoid any unexpected interruptions. This is an interactive Q&A session, so you'll see that there's a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen, and we do encourage you to please submit your questions here, which we will hopefully answer either along the way or we'll cover at the end of the session. So this session is intended to briefly cover our postgraduate program offerings, but specifically provide details on our graduate certificate programs or our short course programs. But we will leave time to answer questions at the end. So if you have any questions related to the ANU College of Law more generally, or about other programs or offerings that we have, we will have time to do that. And as part of the schedule for this webinar week that our central team is running, I understand that there will be separate sessions on admissions, accommodation, and other programs as well that other units and colleagues will cover. So we'll just be giving ours specific to the ANU College of Law. So as you might see, for those who aren't familiar with our ANU Law and our programs, I'll give a very brief intro now. Let me just go to my next screen here. That goes next. There we go. Excellent. So ANU Law celebrated its 60th anniversary last year. For over 60 years, ANU has earned a reputation for excellence in legal scholarship and is consistently ranked in the top 20 law schools in the world. Specifically, we are known for areas of international and public law, constitutional and administrative law, law reform and social justice, and newly law and technology. Our students benefit from a range of real-world learning opportunities that are unique to studying law in the nation's capital, so the city where federal laws and policies are made. Our proximity to the High Court of Australia, the Commonwealth Courts, federal agencies, these all offer unparalleled access to legal practitioners, members of the judiciary, government policymakers, and many others who are either ANU Law alumni or who teach or lecture into our programs. So a breakdown of our programs. I've only listed our postgrad programs here. Just briefly, we have our two graduate certificates, which the Graduate Certificate in Law and the Graduate Certificate in New Technologies Law. Both of these are 6 months full-time, and they also offer a pathway into our Master of Laws program. However, to note, the Graduate Certificate in New Technologies Law is offered entirely online. We have our Master of Laws program, which is 1 year full-time, and you also have an option to take one of 5 specializations. These include human rights, international law, new technologies law, private and commercial law, or public law. We have our oh, no, I didn't put in our Juris Doctor program. I skipped that one on purpose. We have our Master of International Law and Diplomacy program. It's a 2 years master degree, co-taught with the Coral Bell School of Asia Pacific Affairs. And we have a new program called the Master of Financial Management and Law, which is another 2 year master's degree, co-taught with the College of Business and Economics. And then, of course, we have our higher degree research, both the Master of Philosophy and Law and the Doctor of Philosophy and Law. So with that, again, a very brief introduction. So I'd like to introduce the others who are joining me on this panel today. We have Associate Professor Pip Ryan, who is the Director of our Master of Laws program. She is a member of the Treasury Audit Committee, and in her role in the Standards Australia Blockchain Technical Committee, she is the lead author of the International Standards for Smart Contracts. Pip is a non-executive director on the board of the Australian firm Lander & Rogers, and she is also on the editorial board of Stanford's Journal of Blockchain Law and Policy. We have Epi Turbio, who is a current Juris Doctor student and is the equity officer for our ANU Postgraduate and Research Student Association, known as PARSA. which is a student organization here on campus. He'll be able to help answer any questions related to student experience here at AIM Law and AMU more generally. And from our amazing student services team, we have Zoe Spalletta, who will be able to provide information and advice on admissions requirements, processes, and deadlines for our graduate certificate programs. So first, if you don't mind kicking us off, Pip, just to let us know a bit about the grad certs that you want to offer, you know, what the design is, who they're for, and the kind of experiences that you can offer.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ash. Before I kick off, can I just check that you can hear me clearly?
I think a little bit closer yet.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm really clearly heard here. Thank you. Yes, so thanks, Ash. Lovely introduction. As I said, or as Ash said, I am the director of the Master of Laws program. And in this capacity, I'm also responsible for the other two graduate programs in the College of Law. So that's the Graduate Certificate and the Graduate Certificate in New Technologies Law. And the wonderful thing about these graduate certificate programs is that they can be a standalone program where you get the qualification of a graduate certificate. But the wonderful thing is, and many students really go for this, is it's a great entree into the LLM, into the Master of Laws. And the thing about the ANU Master of Laws is you don't need a law degree. But if you come from a background where maybe you've studied overseas or you haven't studied law at all, not even as part of a non-qualification, we do have an introductory subject that you can do just to help you get up to speed. But other than that, once you've done the graduate certificate, you have done half a master's, which is really cool. And it gives students the opportunity to think about whether they want to keep studying and was that fun and was it really delivering the kind of experience that I wanted. And we do have a focus here in the College of Law on targeting students who are thinking about improving career prospects, maybe a change of career, but very often looking for a promotion within a role, maybe as a lawyer or in government or policy making, and a lot of people who work in law firms or even barristers who are thinking, I'd really like to focus my energies on a particular area of law that's going to be really helpful for me. So that's a really important thing to think about. And we feel we have a very strong global reach, and we focus on having conveners for our courses who have PhDs. And that's a very important aspect of the way the program is run, because we have people teaching into their expertise. So for me, it's all technology and the law. I am also the queen of fraud, but I tend to convene subjects that really focus on things like digital economies and issues around cyber laws, cyber security, and just data protection and issues like that. So there is a range of subjects you can choose from, and the graduate certificate really offers the full suite of courses that would also be available in the Masters. It's just important to note that students who choose the graduate certificate in New Technologies Law will be given a list of courses that fit into the program. So you meet a program order. And the nice thing about that is when you do a Masters, you also have the opportunity to specialize in New Technologies Law. So if you did those 4 courses, you've already done enough to specialize in the Master's course, and then you can choose from the rest of the suite. In the Masters, we even allow you to choose courses outside of the College of Law, just 1 or 2, but that enriches the whole offering, which is fantastic. So for those who choose the non-specialized graduate certificate of law, there is a lot of flexibility from the subjects that you can choose, and you don't need to decide on a specialization when you go into the Masters. It's not necessary. And in fact, some people start thinking, oh, I'll do a specialization, choose the courses that fit into that, and then later just let it go, because they realize the value of the offering itself is pretty special, and it'll be enough to achieve what it was you wanted to do. So the sorts of things that you would find in the New Technologies Law course are courses like information technology, blockchain network technologies, and legal innovation, cyber warfare, artificial intelligence, and media law. And the key feature that distinguishes the New Technologies Law course from the generic is not just the program offering, but the entire program is 100% online. Now, that's not just a COVID thing. We have had to do a lot of teaching online because of COVID. It's designed for online. And there are students who are looking for that flexibility, sometimes because they're remote or regional. A lot of students are overseas, or because it fits in with personal and professional circumstances. So both graduate certificate programs, I would say, are really suited to someone who's already got a bachelor's degree. That is a minimum. You must have a degree. It's easier to fit in if you've got a cognate degree. Cognate means of similar scholarly undertaking, something like economics. I mean, I even think history is a really good match. But if there's any concern, we allow you just to do one subject in law and legal institutions, and then you can do the rest once you've got through that course, just so that we know that there's a good alignment between what you think you need to know to do this course and what is actually expected. So if you're interested in doing some research into courses, just go to our courses and programs website, Google it, trust me, ANU, programs and courses, grad cert, it'll take you straight there. Thank you, Google. And in addition to that, though, I really want to stress that one of the things we've been working on is what we call the student journey, not just the experience, the whole journey. Now, the journey is about saying, well, if you've come to us looking to connect with others in a scholarly way, we have masterminds. But if you're looking for a career shift, either up or laterally, or a change in pace for your career, then we have a thing called GYM. Now, GYM is a very simple name. It stands for jobs, internships, and mentoring. Now, this was designed specifically for students in our graduate programs. We do have students who are doing other law courses who can qualify to participate in this, but it is designed for you. And the idea is that with jobs, we have a special relationship with a couple of law firms that have offices in regional country towns all over New South Wales who do professional work locally and for Sydney clients. And one of those firms focuses on litigation, and they support and provide litigation services all over New South Wales, just a country town. And then the other firm is based in Wagga. And those firms have a special relationship with ANU. It's quite new. And what we're doing is encouraging students to use us as a platform or as a channel to get opportunities in those organisations. So I tend to think maybe if you want to go home to your country town, sick of the traffic, sick of the prices of Sydney, Melbourne, Canberra, or if you're looking for a sea change or a cool change or a tree change, go to a country town. So that's what we're supporting, and we feel that's a very important thing that ANU can do. Now, that's in addition to our existing relationships with our alumni networks who are all over the world, in government, the UN, at the bar. I've been at the bar for 18 years. I've got a lot of contacts at the New South Wales bar. And then we have also the relationships with firms, small firms and large firms, through our usual alumni networks. So this is a really broad reach, and what we want to be able to say is it's not just about study, it's about your next step in your career. And Mastermind, that scholarly engagement, it happens on Thursdays, usually every 2 weeks. We put out a call, we have a topic we discuss, anything from 10 to 20 of us get together, and we just shoot the breeze about the law. This year we've been talking about cameras, Bitcoin, Facebook, telephones, and we just talk about the relationship, sometimes with technology, sometimes politics and the law. and it's not about your studies necessarily. It's more fun. So that's really what I wanted to cover today. It's a real, it's very generous to be given so much time. It's quite a privilege to have this opportunity to speak to so many potential students. Can I just say this? I get a lot of emails from students wanting to talk to me. Send me that email. I'm very happy to set up a phone call, to have a chat. It's totally fine. The best email for me is my director of the LLM email, which is llm.director@anu.edu.au. I have a feeling the very clever Ash will probably type that into the chat right now. So contact me if you want to. Sometimes it can take me about 4 or 5 days with these sorts of queries because I'm teaching as well and researching. Those things are urgent. But once you're one of my students, you'll hear from me very quickly. Anyway, we look forward to hearing from you, looking forward to your questions today. I've got lots and lots of practical experience. I worked in London for ESSO, in policy. God, I've worked for a judge, I've worked for a law firm, and I'm on a few boards, which is terrific. So ask any questions. Looking forward to hearing from you. Back to you, Ash.
Thanks very much, Pip. That was great. And yeah, thanks for covering a broad sweep and getting the down and gritty about all the activities that you're running as well. So Pip is, I feel like every time you turn around, there's a new exciting initiative that Pip is running that enhances student experience, employability. It's really great. Pip, there is actually a question here in the chat, which I might get you to answer before we move to Zoe. So from Azar, course in digital economies in the law looks really fascinating. Although I understand it is pitched as a prerequisite for people who have not studied law, given that I have completed the LLB, is it still worth me taking this course?
Yeah, actually, that is going to be removed from the start of 2022 as a prerequisite, but I would do it anyway because it's just the best subject under the sun. You need to look at the dates and who's teaching it, because I teach it based on a book I wrote, but it is going to be shared with one of our new colleagues who her expertise is all around international share and investment law. So it might have a slightly different focus when she's teaching it. There will be a lot of overlap, but it's a very cool course that I would argue requires very little law. And the way we've designed it, when students come into this subject, we do a few activities at the beginning to cover off what we call assumed knowledge. So for example, there could be a section on, we've got a whole thing on smart contracts. Okay, so there's a whole topic on smart contracting and the way blockchain technology works. But what we do is we spend about an hour at the beginning of that topic talking about contracts just in normal law. And then we start talking about smart contracts, just to bring everybody up to speed. Because remember, sometimes people are doing these courses, these degrees, who haven't studied for a long time. So they actually like a refresher. So we do that for everyone. We assume a bit of a refresher. There's, I would say, only 3 courses in the whole program where we would say you really need a law degree, and you would see that in the description. We're quite clear. We say this is an advanced topic for people who have studied this area before, and digital economies in the law is not one of those. It's a fun course. It's the kind of thing you could have a radio show, and my brother, who's a builder, would just love it. Like, he just talks to me about it all the time. I mean, he's a smart builder, but yeah.
Okay, excellent, thanks. I know we have another question here in the chat, but I think it could potentially be answered by Zoe in sort of the explanation that she provides on the admissions and the requirements. But if not, then we'll come back to this question here from Salim. Zoe, I'll hand over to you to talk about what's required and deadlines and that sort of thing.
Great, thanks so much, Ash and Pip. I'm assuming everyone can hear me okay? Great.
Yep.
So basically, I'm just going to condense the important information that you'll all need for admissions, as Ash said, and date requirements for the Graduate Certificate of Law and the Graduate Certificate of New Technologies Law. So luckily, I'm not going to throw too much information at you because they both actually have the same entry requirements. So the admission requirements are a bachelor degree or an international equivalent with a minimum GPA of 4.0 out of 7, so 4 out of 7. So that's the GPA requirements for both of the courses. It can get with international students when you're applying. So you apply directly through ANU through StudyLink, and it comes to the colleges for assessment. With an international equivalent, we'll look at your transcript, which you'll have to provide with your application. We have a look and we calculate the GPA and transfer it to an ANU GPA to have a look at that. And then domestically, students are applying through UAC, as you would with undergraduate courses as well. The other admission requirement, if you don't have a bachelor degree or an international equivalent that meets a GPA, we do also look at least 10 years of work experience in an ANSCO Skill Level 1 role. So for anyone who doesn't know what that acronym is, it's just the Australian and New Zealand Standard Classification of Occupations. So you can have a look on that if you need any further information for that. The English language requirements, so it's a good idea to just have a look at the English language requirements that we have on ANU for the students. Again, I would recommend, like Pip said, just Googling it because it's much easier and it'll come up with all the information that you need on there. There's quite a bit to read through, so definitely have a look at that for international students before you apply as well. In regards to dates, for postgraduate applications for domestic students for both of the grad certs, they close on the 21st of August 2021. Postgraduate applications that open for next year open on the 1st of September 2021. So domestic students, if you want to remember those dates, if you don't write them down, you can find that on our website when you click to apply. It's on our website and on UAC, so you'll be able to find it on both of them there. International, you've got a few more key dates. You can also find this when you go to apply via our ANU website, via StudyLink. It'll be the first part of information that comes up for you when you go to apply. So if you're wanting to apply for semester 2 2021, you will have, they are closed at the moment, obviously, because we're about to commence them. But for round 4, for semester 1 2022, the applications close on the 22nd of December. So just make sure, yes, that you're wanting to apply by then for next year. The only other thing that I'll touch on is just fees. So at the moment, we've got a short course fee discount. So there's 2 ways to obtain a fee discount for your short course. So you've got Commonwealth supported places, CSPs, they're the job ready packages. And then you've also just got the graduate certificate fee discounts, which obviously applies to both of our grad certs. To be eligible for either of those discounts, you need to commence your short course in 2021. Or you need to complete your full graduate certificate in 2021 or the first half of 2022, so first half of next year. If the full degree isn't completed, then the remainder of the courses will be charged on a full fee basis for semester 2 2022. So you can view the reduced fees for the chosen programs on the programs and courses website for each of them. It has all of the information for indicative fees and everything as well for international and domestic too. So programs and courses will obviously be your best friend for all of that information. And yes, I think that's pretty much it.
Thanks, Zoe. Just a question for semester 2 coming up, have we already sort of surpassed the deadline for applications and
Yes, yeah. So the applications are now closed for semester 2, 2021. But for spring session or summer session and everything so spring obviously starts near the end of it. Then you can apply for those. So that's fine.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think there are a couple of questions in the mix there. I think we sort of a mixture of that were answered and not. So there's one here from Salim. And this could be between either Pip or Zoe. I think the first half might be Pip. So with the Graduate Certificate of New Technologies Law, which will be conducted via online for a period of 6-month training, how well is it recognized in Australia and globally? And then they continue to question whether the pursuance of a Master of Law in ANU will request extra requirements. So if you are moving from the grad cert online to then jumping into the Master of Laws, will there be extra requirements? And how long will be needed to complete the Master of Law after completing the certificate for the LLM? How much longer would that be? I don't know is it Pip would want to take it on, or Zoe, or split the two for that?
I think the first half's definitely you, Pip, or probably even the second part too, whatever you'd like to.
Yeah, look, it's a good question, and it's quite a detailed question. First of all, if you get into the graduate certificate and you're fine getting through the courses, you will have no problem transferring into the LLM. We add no additional requirements. It's just the Graduate Certificate of Law is the entree to your LLM. So if you want to get into the LLM and you don't meet the requirements to get into that program, it is easier to get into the graduate certificate. So then you just come in and make sure that your marks are okay, and you will get into the LLM program. We don't add any extra requirements to it. So that's a really good question. With the LLM, once you transfer across, it depends how long you have to do it. Depends on whether you're enrolled part-time or full-time. And can I say the best way to find that is on programs and courses. It is right there. So you could go to the LLM, but you would have finished half of it. So if you enroll in it, in the LLM program, and you've got credit for 4 subjects and you enroll part-time, you've got a long time to finish that course. As for its standing in Australia, that's very important. There is only one other law school in Australia that's offering a graduate certificate in law, and that's Macquarie University. Their learning outcomes are not as high as ours, and that's why ours is such an easy entree into the master's program. And they're not a G8 university, and I think their entire program is then online. You wouldn't be able to then do, for example, with your master's, you could choose some of our master's courses that we teach online, and then you could choose some of our master's courses that we do on campus. We have some that are on campus that are very quick. You just do them over a week or a couple of weekends, and other courses where you could do them over a semester. There's a lot of flexibility for you to decide which courses are available at certain times and how they're taught, not just whether it's online or in person, but over the kind of period. So, I mean, I would suggest if you wanted to have a little bit of a look at what you want to do, this is what a lot of students do. They'll send me an email and say, this is my plan, does it work? Like, what do you think? And then I'll often share that with our admin team, student admin, because they're the ninjas of does it work? And then we have a little discussion, and then we get back and just say, okay, yeah, that works. Now, what do you want to do with it? Why are you doing this? What can we help you with? And also let you know what's available in other colleges if that's something that would assist as well, to make you build the career you want and the degree you want.
Yeah, thanks, Pip. I think on that, the question of actually the process of moving from the grad cert into the LLM, I think as I've raised here, do you actually need to do another UAC application, or is it more of an internal process? Maybe
yeah, maybe Zoe. I think it's internal, isn't it? Oh, no,
yes.
Zoe, you'll know the answer.
Yeah, it's internal, yep. So they'll have to do that via Student Central. So it's initiated, so it's all via Manage My Degree on ISIS. And then initially it goes to Student Central. They'll do what their part of it, and then it comes to the college for assessment, and then it will go back to Student Central to be finalised. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. That sounds really easy.
Yeah.
So, someone answers that. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, good. Oh, like I mean, I'm imagining that we're going to get a few more questions popping up because they seem to be coming every couple of minutes there. But I think, yeah, Pip, pointing out that this degree is very unique, especially for here in Australia. The new graduate certificate in new technologies law, and the online factor. I mean, obviously there's you know, pros and cons to in-person learning and then online, but in this new world, I mean, obviously the benefits for studying online and the kind of activities that are run online. You even mentioned that, I don't know if you actually mentioned this time, but your competitions online as well. Yeah, that's going to be a benefit rather than a lower, I guess, what do you call it, acceptance by other programs.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to keep in mind, this isn't something where we deliver online as if you're in the room. We deliver online using online technologies to enhance the learning experience. So it's not less of an experience. It's some of the students absolutely love things like we use Zoom to go into breakout rooms. Now, when you're in a class, a physical class, and you all go off into breakout rooms, you need to make sure you've got enough rooms to break out. It takes time. Whereas with Zoom, it's instant. And nobody needs to travel anywhere. You know, you can actually just be still in your office, put a do not disturb on the door, get your learning done, and then go back to working without spending a whole lot of time in transit and lost time or downtime. Can I just quickly answer? We've got a very good clarification question here in relation to graduating from the grad cert and then accrediting to the LLM. No, if you want to use the 4 courses from the grad cert to get accreditation into the LLM, you do not graduate into the grad certificate. You do one or the other. So think about it like this. You exit from the program with a graduate certificate, or you keep going up into the LLM. So you're stacking up courses, you get to number 4, and you go, I'm exiting grad cert, or I'm going to keep building LLM. But you don't get both the grad cert and the LLM, you choose.
Excellent, thanks, Pip. They're rolling in. You've got another one. Question for Pip. How are the subjects in the grad cert of new technologies law assessed?
Oh, okay, yeah. Can I just go back? I'll do these too, but let me just go back to a question that was asked about quality and reputation. I think you've got to do your own research, but because I'm so biased, I'm sorry. I mean, I've got a PhD from Sydney Uni. You can look me up. I've got a degree from ETS. I wanted to do my law degree at a technology university, of course, but I teach at ANU. You know, there are leading institutions in this country, and you need to look at their reputation for what you want to do. You've got to align it and ask yourself, what does ANU bring to my brand because of its reputation? And you need to do that research, but I can tell you it is world-class. We're not just talking about its reputation in Australia. I can turn up at an international conference and just say to someone, Australian National University, and they'll go, ooh, very nice. You don't get that with all universities. You need to work out where you fit and what's going to be right for you and your brand. Okay, so how are the subjects in the grad cert assessed? Okay, we have a policy in the College of Law for all postgraduate programs except for one extended writing piece. I think that's the only one that's got a different assessment program, where you have 3 pieces of assessment, and the third must be an extended research paper. Now, some of them have got different formats, but the third largest one is due after classes are finished, and it's a research paper. We provide a lot of support for getting that paper done. The university has amazing support services for anyone who's thinking, I haven't done that for a while. The other 2 pieces can be one of a quiz, blog posts, participation. We have short pieces of work that you might submit. So there's a variety of different styles of assessment for the smaller pieces, but the research paper is required, and it's the biggest piece of work for submission. Any different treatment or in regards to the programs that are offered online as to those conducted on campus? Look, that's an interesting question. When it comes to the ones that are held online, we record them. We record the sessions that are lectures. I mean, I think this is the sort of thing that we talk about when we think about the treatment of the course. You'll still get one third of the 72 hours or so that the course takes up will be what we call synchronous. Synchronous is while you're there, I'm here at the same time. If you record something and make it available later, that's still face-to-face, but it's asynchronous. It's happening, you're receiving it at another time. So we offer all students can, whether they're getting a lecture on campus or online, it'll be recorded and provided later. But tutorials and seminars are not recorded. You come, you participate, and that's one-on-one. And we're very clear about how that's structured with online learning in the grad cert. So what would happen is you might have, let's say, 8 3-hour or 9 3-hour sessions, or 6 4-hour sessions, and then another 3-hour session. And you would be taught that they're all synchronous. You can join that class, do all the activities, and it will be recorded except for discussion with students. And that, we just switch the recording to pause, let everyone have a good discussion about the topic, and then we start recording again when we're back to content. So it's very similar to in person. It's just that when you're online, we're taking advantage of breakout rooms, using the whiteboard, online polls, online quizzes that are all immediate and quite fun. Who will be the supervisor? If you do the graduate research unit, you can find a supervisor who has a particular area of expertise, but then we can also assist you in finding someone to assist as a supervisor and with marking.
Wow, you've been rolling through those. Well done, Pip.
I'm on a roll.
Yeah, keep them coming. And I mean, that probably goes to say we've been doing a lot of online teaching this year, you know, a bit of mix of a hybrid, and the College of Law and ANU, I think overall has done a really good job of delivering online courses. And while even really quickly, as soon as things went shut down, we had the resources and the tech to be able to do that, which was really great. So
can I add something to that, Ash?
Yeah.
When we did the student feedback, just for anyone listening who's thinking, I wonder what that online experience is like, when COVID struck and we had to get all of our usual face-to-face teaching and put it 100% online, the student feedback was that it was all pretty rubbish. So what we did was last winter, we just did a complete reset. The whole college just said, let's do this well. How do we do this really well? And let's change that feedback so that by the end of 2020, what we wanted was the students to say, that was awesome. And we got the shift. It was a complete flip, but we had to do work to make that happen. It did not come naturally. A lot of us sat down. We even had a seminar this year where all the conveners in the master's program got together and did another discussion where we said, okay, we've been doing this now for 9 months. What are we doing right? What do the students love? And what shouldn't we be doing anymore? And that process of making sure we're learning how to do this well is something we took on immediately, and we take it very seriously. And it's part of this idea of professional teaching. We don't just teach, we teach professionally. And that's a very important thing we're very proud of.
Excellent, thanks, Pip. I may pull in Epi just here because I think otherwise he's going to get to like hide in the background for ages. Epi's, as I mentioned, one of our current Juris Doctor students. And Pip, you'll be pleased to know he just mentioned that he was considering adding new technologies law to his study plan. So Effie, I might bring you on if you like, and just to sort of talk about particularly, the student experience studying law, but also as Pip has mentioned, the whirlwind we've been thrown for, the online studying, what it's been like from a student experience. Obviously, you won't, be honest, you don't have to, it's not all shiny as Pip said, but just how you have approached
be honest.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the kind of things that you and others, either from PARSA or in the other student societies and groups, how you've been managing.
Yeah, I'll be honest. At first, when we all came to do online, we all hated it. It was like studying, but without all the fun. And then later on, we get accustomed to it. We began to realize the convenience of, just after when it's time for class, you roll into Zoom and you listen to the lecture. Or like if you have because it's asynchronous, like the lectures are uploaded, you can come in and do the lectures whatever time you want, and you can do other things at a time that's attributed to that. So we kind of like later on, towards the end of 2020 and coming in earlier to 2021, we kind of learned the convenience of the classes being online. So I could definitely attest what there are actually some of us who really believe that online classes are better. But for me, I'm an extrovert. I usually want to have my classmates. Oh, I'm sitting next and having chatting. The experience, the interaction that goes on during lectures and doing classes. But right now, I'm on a stage wherein even if it's an online class, even if it's an in-person class, I'll enjoy it as long as the key is subject matter. That's why after this, I might be in touch with you. But yeah, right now, whatever the type of class is, whether it be in person or it's online, it's way easier. It's way more easier than what it used to be. And the interaction element that used to be lacking when we first started, it has now been integrated. And you could actually you could catch your classmates and then you could interrupt your professor or whoever is doing the lecture and then ask questions. That's very welcome. That's one thing that we really appreciate doing online classes.
Excellent, thanks, Effie. I could get your help on this one. I think we have another question on the line from Zach. And this could be for Zoe, maybe. I will be attempting to manage the workload of study and starting a new job. Well, congratulations. Can I defer should this prove unmanageable? Oh, sorry, Zoe.
There we go. Yeah, so yeah, if it does prove to be unmanageable and the workload feels like it's too much, you can, so deferring is more so before you've started a degree. So if you're, for example, if you're going to start the grad cert, LLM or anything, and you receive an offer, you can defer it if you feel like it's not manageable, if you like it won't be manageable. But from your question, it sounds like you're more asking while you're studying, if you realize it starts to become unmanageable, what can I do from here? So what you can do is for each course, if you're a student with ANU at the moment, you probably know this, but there's a census date that you can drop a course. So there's a census date where you can drop a course, and that means you don't have to pay the fees or anything like that, and it doesn't show up on your transcript. Then we've got another date which changes each semester and session, so you just need to make sure you check that on Programs and Courses or Course Search. Where you can withdraw from a subject or a course, and it will show on your transcript as a WD, which just means that you've withdrawn but it's not with failure. So it's just a withdrawal from the course, and you do have to pay fees still for that course. The third phase of dropping from a course during semestral session is a WN. So there's another, so after the last date to drop a course after census date, I know it's so confusing. There's the final date where if you drop it, it's a withdrawn failure. So that means it will show up on your transcript as well, similar to a WD, but it'll come up as a WN, and you still also have to pay the fees. So hopefully that makes sense. So there's the census date, and then there's the second withdrawal date, and then after that second withdrawal date, it's a withdrawal with failure. Yeah.
Zoe, am I right that the census date is usually, is it about a month or so into the course? Like, it's actually a significant amount of time.
It's a decent amount of time, yes, to get a taste of whether it's going to be manageable or not. Yeah, right, definitely.
Yeah, good. Because I was, obviously if it's one weekend, you're still kind of unsure what it's going to be. But from my memory, it's always a little bit further in. So by that time, you can see how you're going. You can as you said, like withdraw or before you get any fees clapped onto you there. So so Zach, I hope that does answer your question from there. I think and maybe that folks like EPI and we've got a Law Student Society as well who are happy to be contacted, who can provide some information how, what kind of courses they've taken that they've been able to, have been really intense when they juggle. I think also the structure, it sounds like for our grad cert and our master's programs that, there's a lot of intensive course offerings. So you can, basically take the time off of work to throw yourself into it and then go back. Is that right, Pip? I think for
that's correct. And just to clarify, can you just note that census, C-E-N-S-U-S, census date is what you need to look at.
Yes.
And the census date changes depending on the structure. This is what Ashley's talking about when she says you need to check the structure of that course.
Yeah.
Because some of the census dates happen very fast because the whole course is all over, the teaching's all over in a week.
Yeah.
So you just but that wouldn't suit someone who's about to start a new job. That people do those when they work for an employer who gives them, like the government, God bless the government, gives you things like a week off to study. Like they will give you study leave. So for those students, they love the week-long courses because they just knock it on the head and then go away and do some assessments. Basically, once you look at the course and you look at the right tab for the year, so you look at 2021 and then go to view, you can see when those assessment dates would be due, those assessments. So if it's a week long, you'll only have one little assessment in that week. The others are going to be afterwards. But if it's a 6 week, you'll probably have the first 2 will happen in that 6 weeks. Maybe participation in some blog posts or blog posts and a quiz, and then you've just got the research piece at the end, which I think is the thing easiest to manage because you just do that in your own time. The hardest thing is just the face-to-face learning and getting those first couple of assessments done. Another good reason to contact me or student admin. I mean, that's the sort of thing a student would contact me about and go, right, this is what I'm planning to do. These are my obligations. What do you reckon? And we have a chat about it.
Yeah, excellent. Excellent. Good. And I did get the email correct, I think, in the chat there, llm.director@anu.edu. Or is it llm?
Spot on. Spot on.
Oh, good. I was like, or is it .law in there somewhere?
No, you're spot on. That's
fantastic. Yeah, good. Well, I don't see any other questions that are popping through, and I think, well done, you guys. You've done a good job of getting nitty-gritty questions, covering general questions. So I think I'll probably just leave it there. So thank you to Zoe, Epi, and Pip for joining and helping out with this webinar. And thanks to all who've joined us today. Again, as Pip has said, please reach out if you have any other questions, especially if they're detailed to your sort of situation and what you're thinking career-wise, and any of our other programs that we have on offer as well. And as a reminder, you can also find heaps of information on our website. So the important stuff like course start dates, the type of courses that are online, But at the same time, we also have lots of the fun stuff. So video recordings, podcasts, PIP features, and many of them online. So feel free to go on there and have a look at all the other fun stuff and the sort of whole package experience that you get. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your week and the rest of the panels on offer as part of the ANU Webinar Week. And we hope to see you all soon at some stage. Thanks very much.
Thanks for hosting,
Great.
Ash.
Thanks, Ashley. See
Cheers,
you.
Effie. Thanks, Zoe.
Thanks, Pip. Bye, Epi.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.